Hi, everybody. It's Mama E again. You know, I often think that I need to perhaps tell you who are new to this video who I am. I'm a cheerleader for marriage. How about that? Years ago, I was given the name Mama E, and it just kind of stuck because I think I tried to give old-fashioned mother wit advice, or at least to tell you how I see things, in the hopes that some of what I say might be beneficial to you. All right, so today as I was thinking about what we would share, I thought about talking about the quarantine. Now, most of us were not alive during the Great Depression. Many of us have not experienced or lived through catastrophic events of the past. But most of us now, there are generations of us who are surviving the quarantine. And I thought we would talk about what exactly is a quarantine. You know, I've heard a phrase, and I use it fairly often, that says perception is everything. It's how you look at a thing that determines how you are affected by it. So the word quarantine, as I thought about it, has two connotations. The first is that of a lockdown, and the second is a shut-in. All right. I looked up lockdown just to see what Webster says, and I was kind of surprised, I guess. The first definition that was given says the confining of prisoners to their cells. The second one says a state of isolation or a restricted access. I think when I think of a lockdown as being confinement, that to me has a negative connotation. In other words, nobody wants to be in a lockdown because it means that I'm going to be have no access to my freedom, that I'm going to be locked away against my will. The other word, though, was shut in. Now, this is an old word, and many of you might not be familiar with a shut in. But when I was a child, one of the things that the church used to do, on Fridays, the church would fast, and many of those Friday nights, after Friday night service, the doors would be locked, and those persons who were going to spend the night in prayer would be shut in. Doors locked, and they that are in the building were there for a specific purpose, and that was to pray. When I think of the shut-in, that it was pretty common, and it was an opportunity for you to spend time with God, uninterrupted, with no distractions. Everybody in there was on one accord, and their intent was to be shut in with God. Secondly, if there was a need that a person had that they had been praying for, the shut-in allowed them an opportunity to lay that need before the Lord with the expectation that He would hear their prayers and answer. Lastly, the shut-in was designed as a period of refreshing. In other words, after you had poured out your heart to God, you became closer to Him, and you left with the understanding that God had heard your prayer because you had spent time with Him, and you felt like whatever you were going through, you could make it now. Those were the three reasons for the shut-in. So what am I saying? Perception is everything. In this period of the quarantine, how do you perceive the period of time that you are in the house, away from all of the distractions of life? Do you see it as a lockdown, that you couldn't wait to get out? That just like a prisoner who had been confined to a cell, that you have been shut in this house with people that you don't love, that you don't even like, and you perceive it as a lockdown. On the other hand, for those of you who have spent the quarantine with people that you enjoy being with, the people that you appreciate now even more than ever, that being shut in has given you a time of refreshing, spending time with those individuals, be it your spouse, your children, other extended family members. If you come away from this period and see it as a time that you learned everything about each other, things that you had paid no attention to before, that's a positive connotation. So what am I saying? Take away from the quarantine. Look at it as a time of refreshing. It's not a lockdown. It's a shut-in. And my experience has been that we will come away better. You know, I often say that God does not waste his resources. He's always teaching. So let's learn from this period. Appreciate the fact that you've had this time to spend with people who love you and that you in turn love them back. This has been Mama E, and we look forward to sharing with you again next time.